Disrupting the empty vessel hypothesis in higher education. White college students actually know a lot about race. March 27th, 2026. What? Each year, 15 to 20 million students enroll in post-secondary education in the US. Popular images of college life feature extracurricular experiences like residence halls, athletic events, Greek life, as much, if not more, than students' time in class. Further, many college students expect to encounter a degree of diversity unlike that in their hometowns and high schools. College campuses promise to function as new and uniquely diverse environments that students have not encountered before and are unlikely to experience otherwise. What? I mean, like, yeah, if you're, like, from any kind of small town, going to a college in a big city is going to be a massive cultural change. College campuses promise to function as new and uniquely diverse environments that students have not encountered before and are unlikely to experience otherwise. In our careers as scholars of higher education, we have often heard educators make the following claim when discussing the difficulty of engaging white students around race, diversity, and social justice. White students come to college having never thought about race before. We call this way of thinking the empty vessel hypothesis, as educators treat white students as vessels simply awaiting knowledge about race, racism, and the racial world. In our book, Disrupting White Noise, Challenging Beliefs About Race on Campus, we make three primary arguments. Before I get to the arguments, what kind of, like, racist brain do you have to think that, oh, these white people are just empty vessels. They've never thought about anything racial before in their lives, and we must teach them this like they are babies. Hide the DEI vegetables, brother. Number one, white students learn about race in multiple ways via racially segregated communities, schools, peer networks, and more. Students come to college with a lifetime of knowledge about race and the racial world. 2, colleges often function as an extension of, rather than a disruption to, white students' pre-college environments and experiences. Colleges and educators often mistakenly treat white students as empty vessels by assuming they lack knowledge of and awareness of race and the racial world. It's kind of fascinating to, like, read how these people think of white people, I guess. Because it's like, I could not imagine a college professor being like, yes, the black students who come to my school, they are empty vessels. They know nothing, especially about the racial world, and we must teach these black students like they are children who know nothing. Like, what the fuck? Integrating a decade of research on white students. We spent the last decade researching whiteness and white students in higher education. Our work has taken us to small Catholic colleges, rural public institutions, and large research universities all across the country. We have interviewed students, staff, and administrators about their experiences, thoughts on diversity and racial justice, and the role of college in fostering diversity. In this time, politics, media, and everyday life are increasingly marked by what Zeus Leonardo calls post-colorblindness, or a marked shift from language that avoided discussing racial identity and race to explicit discussions of race and racial identity. Notable examples include explicitly white supremacist rallies in places like Charlottesville, that was funded by the left, by the way, anti-immigrant rhetoric, and raids demonizing primarily Muslim, black, and brown people, the increased visibility of Black Lives Matter organizing, and the following backlash against diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. Our book uniquely captures this moment from different campuses and perspectives. I like how their conclusion wasn't that white people have racial experiences and also experience racial discrimination in their lives. Their takeaway was, white people are just inherently racist. I'm so shocked. I'm so shocked. Also, the anti-immigrant rhetoric and raids demonizing Muslim, black, and brown people. I, for one, support our black and brown ICE agents removing illegals and criminals from our country. Zeus Leonardo, what a fucking boss level name. White students' pre-college racial socialization. White students come to college with a lifetime of knowledge about the racial world. Racial segregation continues to define students' neighborhoods and K-12 schools, and teachers, coaches, family members, and faith leaders convey messages about good neighborhoods, schools, and the desirability of various towns, and more. Yet, many white students crave opportunities for open dialogue with adults about race and racism. Take Holly, for example. Holly came of age during the rise of Black Lives Matter and the racial unrest of Ferguson, Missouri. During an interview with Zach, she shared, Yeah, I'm thinking, even in recent years with the Black Lives Matter protests and stuff, my parents didn't really say anything one way or the other, which I guess I understand why it might be a tricky subject to talk about. But at the same time, it probably would have been nice to have been able to have that dialogue with my parents growing up.
What?
This is someone who wants to preach to her parents and they just don't want to deal with it. Blue Sky's skin folk ain't kinfolk reaction to Black and Hispanic ice folks is something to watch. Now what happens when they find out about all the Jews and Asians at DHS? If only we could make copies of Hung Kao and have him hunt down people in ice. Holly's comment represents what we heard from many of the more than 40 white students interviewed. A reluctant acceptance of her parents' racial silence and a recognition that it would have been nice to have more open dialogues about race with her parents. I'm thinking of that comic that was made. Like, somebody was trying to talk about, like, oh, the racial conversation that Black parents have to have with their children about how they might just get randomly murdered by police at any point in time in their lives. And then someone made the comic of, like, a white parent having to talk to their white child about the kind of violence they could face. As Holly's story indicates, it is not that white college students come to campus without knowledge of race. Rather, they have existed primarily in spaces where silence about race was normalized. Disrupting white noise spotlights 3 college contexts: resident halls, leadership programs, and college classrooms. One chapter spotlights resident halls at a rural public university in the Midwest. Administrators believed that predominantly white and rural student body had never been exposed to diversity before. What? They frequently framed residence halls as an ideal place to foster awareness of and appreciation for diversity through interracial interactions. That should not be what you're focusing on at college. What the fuck? What? A lot of places require the homeschool to follow an online program set up by the state. Why would you think that a resident hall is where you should be fostering awareness and appreciation for diversity and interracial interactions? Like, I don't go about my day thinking of, like, okay, I'm going to go Groby shopping, and then I'm gonna go to Fogo de Chao, and then I might wrap it up by, like, going to look at some antiques. But while I'm doing this, I have to make sure to interact with at least 3 Black people and 1 Hispanic person. Otherwise, I haven't met my diversity appreciation quotas for the day. This is kind of like bringing the work home with you, as it were, in Bridges' words. Cindy, of course her name is Cindy, a white woman and senior administrator, explained her desire for students to be able to come in and have a good first positive experience with diversity. I have some bad news about some of the kids coming to college, lady. Whether they are white getting to know Black or Black getting to know white, I mean, that happens also. Yeah, you know, it happens that occasionally a Black person will find a white person. That happens. And so I want people to understand, like, oh, this is good. Like, I think I like this. What the fuck am I reading? This is Black people exist? I don't know. If you live in New England, it's like finding a unicorn. What the fuck? Despite these ideals, residence halls were racially segregated and marked by regular racist incidents. What? Black students recounted hearing non-Black students use the N-word, encountering Confederate flags, experiencing jokes about slavery from their roommates, and were subjected to group me messages that questioned Black students' intelligence and ability to afford college and more. Well, all right, hold on a second. Non-Black students using the N-word, fucking cry me a river. No one should fucking care about this unless they're directly using it at you in a derogatory manner. Encountering Confederate flags, who the fuck cares? They lost. It doesn't matter. Experiencing jokes about slavery from their roommates, get the fuck over it. You might not find it funny, but it's still a joke. Who fucking cares? We're subjected to group me messages that question Black students' intelligence and ability to afford college and more. Welcome to the future you chose. Welcome to the future where affirmative action and DEI are things we have to contend with. And so, everyone now questions if you got there on merit or were placed there by the color of your skin. That's not your fault that that happens. That is the fault of greater society pushing these things on everyone. As a result, several black students recounted feeling unsafe in their rooms, and some even slept in their cars. I bet those were women. There is not a chance you could get me to believe there is a black male bitch made enough who would stop sleeping in their room with a roommate and go to their car because of some fucking jokes, dude. Ain't no way. In a space where students should be able to rest, study, and socialize, many students of color experienced racist harm that effectively evicted them from their homes. What the fuck? We did see the one with the ponytail earlier. Okay, that's fair. I forgot about the ponytail black men. The gay black men might sleep in their cars. That'd be for a different reason, you know? They might be on the down low. Yet, when presented with these incidents, many white staff members downplayed these incidents, claiming that the white students just did not know any better. Well, that's also really dumb. It's not that the white students don't know any better, it's that these are things that are not, they're like microaggressions are not real. Unless somebody is coming up to one of these black students and being like, you specifically are unintelligent enough to be here, you should be picking cotton instead of reading books in college, that would be fucked up. That is not a joke, that is a direct attack on the individual. That would be wrong. By assuming white students know nothing about race, educators and administrators fail to halt racist incidents and disrupt white students' harmful practices and beliefs. This is just insane framing. What the fuck are colleges anymore? Like, I know they've been indoctrination camps for ages, but this is just... What the fuck are you even talking about, dude? Disrupting the empty vessel hypothesis, what now? Disrupting white noise is for anybody who interacts with college students, including faculty, administrators, and staff. While we offer several calls to action, we believe 2 questions undergird all reflection and action. 1. What assumptions do I hold about the knowledge college students, especially white students, do not have about race and the racial world? 2. How does the arrangement of campus life either disrupt or reinforce white students' pre-college learning? Our recommendations offer a mix of individual action and reflection, shifts in educational practices, and calls for significant financial and policy investments. Yes, please, gives us more monies. I'm a hungry, greedy college. Num 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 num, give me monies. Join us in disrupting the white noise. Laura Irwin is an assistant professor in the Higher Education Administration and College Student Personnel Programs at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Zach Faust is an associate professor and chair of educational leadership and policy studies at the University of Kansas. They are the authors of Disrupting White Noise. Hilarious that the only time modern academia will acknowledge that people aren't blank slates is to demonize white students. It is pretty confounding. Imagine painting minorities as extremely thin-skinned over jokes and it's everyone else's fault. I really just want everyone to be able to make jokes again. You know, I want the jokes to be free and not people having to like hide behind 7 anonymous proxies to just be like, well, you know, I think it might be funny. Disrupting White Noise, challenging beliefs about race on campus. Yo, you can buy their book digitally for only $29. Disrupting White Noise meets the present moment in higher education and society. Faust and Irwin bring together their experiences in student affairs with original research, connect it with essential scholarship on race and racism in higher education, and offer a fresh approach to advancing research and practice. I'm just hearing Jeremy Kaufman in my head again, where it's just like, I'm not going to honor the continuous changing and the definitions that you apply to racism. Racism has one definition, and under that definition, I am not a racist. But if I am a racist under your definition, I just don't care, because it's not real. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the scene they're showing here, where they have retconned the horse, like, doing a heroic thing to save someone, is actually the propaganda the pigs spread in the original to detract from the fact that they just straight up killed the horse for no reason because they wanted to make the money to buy booze. But here's that.
You can do it, buddy.
the pigs are wearing tracksuits. Why does it look like that? I don't know. Literally how the pigs lied about his death in the story now. I'm like 99% this movie is going to be woke slop, as it were. It's going to be the subversion and not the anti-communist message. To give them an infinitesimally small sliver benefit of the doubt, they could have released this as like, this is the propaganda the pigs made. But like, why would they do that while they know that everyone is already saying this movie has basically forsaken the source material? That seems like a very stupid thing to do. But I mean, they could come out and be like, haha, we subverted your expectations. I don't think that's the case. I think 99% chance this is the propaganda that it is purporting to be. It already is. You've already watched it. Oh, fuck, dude. That is horrendous. But, this is what I've been saying. Been pointing it out for years. The modern audience does not exist. They're endeavoring to create it. All the shitty remakes and rewrites of IPs and characters. What remakes? This was always how the story was, and always how the characters were, comrade. Whatever do you mean? And someone said, Kirsche doesn't know you can still buy the book. Oof. If it makes you feel better, I work at a high school in the Midwest, and this, along with 1984, are still required reading. This guy is probably a midwit. Because he doesn't seem to understand the point that I'm making. Yes, you can still buy the book. That doesn't matter. How many people are going to buy the book? That's what I said. How many children are going to be buying the books? How many parents still encourage reading at a young age instead of sticking them on an iPad or a phone? How are the literacy rates going in schools currently, which have progressively gotten worse with each generation? How about the media literacy crowd that are now teaching the kids? Thwarting communism is a generational task and you can't fix it overnight. And his response to me asking how many are buying the books and how many parents are encouraging to read is local libraries still exist. This is the midwit thought process of if everyone would just. Everyone is not going to just. It doesn't matter if you can still buy the book. It doesn't matter if you can still find the original film in some places. It doesn't matter if local libraries still exist, which quite a few of them are actually shutting down because a lot of people don't go to them anymore. So, when you have this clusterfuck of a perfect storm and not everyone is going to just, you kind of have to be like, well, this is the writing on the wall. This is the kind of person that allows communism to flourish because he expects everyone will just because he is someone who justs. Dude is just being maliciously disingenuous. And I realized that when he said, which side of the political wings discourages reading? And that's when I figured out this guy's definitely not understanding what's going on. Because the political wing that discourages reading is the left. And I imagine if I had replied with that, he would have said, it's the right who's banning books. Which books are they trying to ban, dear sir? Because I don't think that sexually explicit books belong in kindergarten classrooms. 9 out of 10 times they don't just, it's just their ideal that people should just. Yes, if people would just, a lot of things would get finished and fixed. But people are not just going to. It just doesn't. We have done nothing wrong. Texas judge sides with developer of Muslim-centric neighborhood. Community Capital Partners sued the state agency for refusing to review updated housing policies. Community Capital Partners scored an early win in its lawsuit against the Texas Workforce Commission as it looks to move forward with The Meadow, a Muslim-centric project formerly known as Epic City. A Travis County judge sided with the developer in yet another legal test of the project that first riled up Texas politicians last spring. Community Capital Partners filed the lawsuit after the Texas Workforce Commission refused to review the project's updated housing policies, despite reaching a settlement with the developer last fall that required the agency to approve the new policies. The 201st District Court issued an injunction Tuesday requiring the agency to abide by the terms of the settlement. In addition, the judge denied the state's request to dismiss Community Capital Partners' lawsuit. We have done nothing wrong, and this decision reflects that, Capital Community Partners presented Imran Chaudhary said in a statement. The Texas Workforce Commission called the ruling flawed and told the outlet that it overlooks substantial evidence that the developers are in violation of the Fair Housing Act. The agency also said it plans to appeal the decision. The agency's attempt to block the progression of the development is just one of many obstacles the developer has faced since moving forward with plans to build the 402-acre master planned community last spring. So far, little has stuck. State and federal politicians, including Governor Greg Abbott, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, and U.S. Senator John Cornyn, have accused the developer of discrimination and trying to enforce Sharia law. The U.S. Department of Justice dropped its inquiry into the development in June. The Texas Workforce Commission settled its probe into the project in September. Even so, political attacks have continued. Paxton sued the developer in December, accusing Community Capital Partners of violating Texas security laws. He sued a municipal district tied to the project in February, accusing the district of evading state oversight. A Collin County judge granted a temporary restraining order against the district in March. Plans for the Meadow include a mosque, school, single-family homes, apartments, and senior living facilities. The community will be located in Collin and Hunt counties near Josephine. And I think that's very interesting that this project is a 402-acre master-planned community just for Muslims. That's very interesting, especially because attempting to sue on the, Fair Housing Act? Yeah. That the developers are in violation of the Fair Housing Act, and apparently judges are like, no, this is perfectly fine. You can have an entirely Muslim community on 402 acres. That actually doesn't violate the Fair Housing Act whatsoever. But then you come over here, Pennsylvania, bill banning whites-only housing passes Pennsylvania House by 1 vote. A bill banning white-only housing passed the Pennsylvania House on Tuesday, despite not a single Republican supporting the measure. House Bill 2103 would close a loophole in the state that could let white nationalist groups establish communities under the guise of a private club or member-only organization by blocking such groups from restricting membership by race, color, and national origin to deny equal access to housing, employment, and public accommodations. Now, why is it that a 402-acre Muslim community does not violate the Fair Housing Act, and yet this would not be allowed? They either both violate it or they both should be allowed. And also, why is it okay for a 402-acre Muslim community to exist, but if white people wanted to have a community, not even 402 acres, that would be considered supremacist or nationalist? Why could it not just be they like living around their own people, like the Muslim community? Why would that be a problem? It seems to me that maybe we should just repeal the Fair Housing Act and let everybody have freedom of association again, maybe? Maybe we could have that, potentially? The bill also expands anti-discrimination protections for employment, housing, and public accommodations to a person's sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity or expression. It passed on the House floor by a 101 to 100 vote. A single Democrat, Representative Frank Burns, D. Cambria, joined every Republican in opposing the bill. Representative Ben Waxman, Philadelphia, proposed the bill after Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin said a preliminary review found that Return to the Land, a whites-only community that operates as a private membership association, had not broken any laws by building a segregated community in the state. Legal loopholes are making it possible for discrimination to still exist today on the basis of religion, Waxman said. Let me be clear, though, religion should never be used as a pretext for hatred or bigotry. So this guy who proposed the bill in Pennsylvania to no longer allow whites-only housing says that it's possible for discrimination today on the basis of religion. So then what is this? What is a 402-acre Muslim-only community except discrimination on the basis of religion? That's kind of crazy. He's literally arguing against his own point. Eric Orwell, president of Return to the Land, wrote on social media earlier this month that he's not fazed by legislation seeking to ban the group. He accused lawmakers who support the bills of being anti-white and said they'll eventually pay for their betrayal of our nation. Damn, that dude's radical as fuck. What the hell? This bill now heads to the Senate for consideration, where Waxman encouraged colleagues to pass it. Now, I'm not going to go quite as far as this guy did, because, that makes you sound a bit crazy. But again, either both of these are okay. Either it's okay to have a whites-only housing area if somebody wants to make it, and it's also okay to have a Muslim-only community, or neither of these are okay because they both violate the Fair Housing Act. They are either both fine or both not fine. You cannot have one and say the other one is not okay. Matt Von Schwoll tweeting out here, just so we're clear on what happened, educators and school administrators single-handedly canceled school for 700,000 North Carolina students, including this guy's son, to wave signs around in the street instead. The signs vary from fuck ICE, defeat Trump's agenda, Trump is a Nazi, ICE out, protect trans kids, refuse fascism, stop bombing schools. Don't tell me this was about kids. It never was. This was adults using 700,000 children, including his, as political leverage against a president they don't like. This is despicable. You know better. Do better. And it's like, I only take umbrage with this last line because, like, no, this is exactly the point of communism. They use the kids to usurp what's going on. Like, this is just communism 101, buddy. What are we doing here? It's like, it's so, like, exhausting. And maybe this is what made James Lindsay just go fucking crazy. Because you point out, like, everything that communism is doing, and then all of these other people are like, oh my god, why are they doing this? They should know better. Don't use children for these things. And it's like, bro, they're a commie. They don't have morals. They're not human. What do you mean? Of course they don't know better. This is part of their plan. I feel like this is DMCA, so I'm gonna mute that. I'm gonna mute. I don't even know what song it is, but I just feel like it's DMCA. Fair pay now? Like, why would you bring kids to do something like this? This is the best that communism can do because they only do the best in pursuit of their own disgusting goals. Yep. And then once they reach their goals, you know, a whole bunch of them get culled and then everybody else lives in horrific conditions. We're all equal, comrade. Horrifically equal. Don't commies count as terrorists? You would think, and you would hope, but unfortunately, communism is not thought of as bad or worse as Nazism, so we have to suffer these horrendous people until more people with brain cells start saying, hello, communists aren't human, their ideology is inhumane, let us not suffer the communist. I saw this and I was like, I have to bring this up in some way. Because are you kidding me? A dark Otome game with all of the world leaders as your Oshis? That would go so fucking hard. That's so fucking crazy, dude. I would play the fuck out of this game. So there's Donald Trump. I'm assuming this is Shinzo Abe. He looks like super fucking young though. And not quite as Japanese as I would have expected. But I'm assuming that's who this is. And then we have this guy. I don't know who this is. I don't know which world leader this is. I don't recognize Glasses Man. And I can't read moon runes. And meet the Japanese Prime Minister too. Trump versus the Quangos. And then we have the final thing. We have Trump. We have fucking Zelensky. We have Z, Putin. I think this is Netanyahu. And then Kim Jong. I don't know which one. Il. I don't know. One of them. They look the same to me. And this would have the most expensive polls in any gacha game. Imagine. Imagine, dude. And then this person said, I won't stop. What the fuck? I like, who is this guy? Who is this guy next to BB? I don't know who that is. Game is banned in China and doesn't even really exist. BB special ability, another trillion for Israel. Siphon the enemy's bank account to fund your next pull. Is that Shinzo Abe? Yeah, so there's Putin here. There's Z here. Kim Jong, I don't know if it's the one that's alive or his father, but that one. Donald Trump. You guys said this was Viktor Orban. This is Netanyahu. I don't know who this dashing lad is. I don't know. He's got a lot of military medals though. Meanwhile, Zelensky's in the corner chair. That's Abe next to the ex-president of South Korea that tried to do martial law. Yeah, I think this one's Abe with the loose tie because he wants you to have children. And this one you think is the Korean leader that tried to martial law. But who's this? Who's this Asian leader? Who's this one? All right, the world's first power, intrigue, romance, developmental game. Pre-register now to unlock exclusive storyline and special CGs. Main title, Coup d'etat, Heartbeat of Power Intrigue. Heartbeat X Power Schemes X Forbidden Love. You will encounter them in the swirling vortex. Oh, so it is a gay game because you are in the front there. That's you with the hand on your shoulder. Will encounter them in the swirling vortex of gunpowder, smoke, and power. Fall in love with them or change them. Wouldn't it be funny if there was like a quest line with Netanyahu? You know how like all of the Azure Lane women, like not all of them, but some of them have quest lines. Like you click on them when they're your like dashboard secretary person, and they have like a like romance quest line thing. What if one with Netanyahu gave you the option for him to, like, convert? Thank you. I don't know, I couldn't remember the fucking word convert. Holy shit. Battleizer, thank you. Just imagine the limited event being leaders from the past. That would be a lot of fun. And imagine if the leaders who are in the game, who are still alive, like, actually, instead of taking offense to it, they, like, made jokes about it, and they were like, yeah, buy my banner pulls, bro. You won't play until the Abe Lincoln banner drops. Netanyahu just kabadons you against the wall and turns you around and makes you kiss it as he... Lewd! Lewd! Do not do sodomy at the wailing wall. That's the wrong kind of wailing. Habibi is definitely the yandere. I'll nuke the world if you leave me. True. What if the living ones actually voiced the lines? That would be pretty fucking funny too. What type of anime is this? All right, okay. We have 18 plus for adult only. Oh boy. Putin, he's calm and deep voiced. In my world, you will always be the exception. He's gentle yet majestic. As the helmsman of the nation, can you also give me your true heart? Kim Jong-un is a tsundere loyal dog. The entirety of North Korea blooms only for you. Oh my god. Shinzo Abe, gentle and considerate. Beyond the smoke of battle, I only want to protect you. Yoon Suk Yeol, wild and untamable. Come with me, no one can hurt you. I'm assuming that's the guy that wanted to martial law. I do not remember the names of any South Korean leaders. I apologize. Trump is absolutely the sugar daddy character. Netanyahu! He's the dominant controller! Follow me and no one can hurt you. Zhang Yuxia, whoever fucking said Zhang in chat, you're so fucking right. That's crazy. How did you know that? Yeah, Zhang Yuxia is the military guy in the bottom right. He's a tough military man. Military big shot, iron-blooded yet tender, all just to protect you. What the fuck? That's crazy. I saw this and I was like, I want to retweet it, but I feel like there's so much that I want to say that a simple retweet will just not work. Oh, who? Okay, so the vampire, both former presidents of Taiwan. The left is Ma Ying-jeou, death grip, originated from Taiwanese internet culture. Anyone who shook hands with Ma Ying-jeou would soon face bad luck, political downfall, scandals, or accidents. That's insane! I love, like, learning about little fucking Easter eggs like this from other countries. You know? Like, who outside of Taiwan, besides maybe people on the War Thunder forums, would know anything about, like, this little death grip thing? Who else would know that? That's crazy! And right is Chen Shui-bian was convicted of multiple major corruption scandals, sentenced to 20 years in prison for taking bribes and laundering money with the largest amount. That's probably translated. Which is really funny because the AI wrote Invitation of the Abyss Master. It's always the guys with glasses, chat. It's always the guys with glasses you have to be aware of. And considering this person said that he was convicted of corruption scandals and taking like large amounts of money for bribes, and he is like ornately decorated with gold chains and like filigree stuff, unlike all the other world leaders. Like the other world leaders, like they look really fucking nice, right? But his has like all the gold shit on it, and it has green, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure in like some Asian cultures, green is like the color for prosperity and riches, right? It's like the boon for that kind of thing. Do not the Asian politicians, but they're so cute, chat. But they're so cute. Be like, Mr. Man, I heard you took bribes, and so in order to flirt with you, I filled my Kochi with quarters. Come diving. I'm your little coin bucket. Because of Jade, probably. Yeah, Jade! That's the green rock thing. They were already gay. No need to call them cute. Well, that's just not true. I'm just gonna play it. I don't know what to say, dude. The power of African spiritual. This is an African court catching a thief. And I just like, is this whole thing just so they already know who the thief is, and so they go through all of this like magic courtship to just like pick out the guy they already know is the thief. Like, I don't know, man. They caught a couple of witches too. And this definitely reminds me of, like, you know, how we used to do witch trials, right? You know what else floats? A duck. Burn the ducks, they're witches. And it's like, what is this guy doing? They actually believe this catches the... I'm trying to, like, figure out what psychological warfare could be going on here. Girugamesh, thank you. This is an old video. You saw this a few years ago. I mean, I'm sure it's older, but I've only just seen it now. It was only just posted. Plot twist, they're all thieves. Yeah, maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. You don't know, Dewey. I don't know, I kind of like how those frond things stick together like that, though. I feel like you could make some, like, nice outdoor bouquets for your barbecue. I like this guy. This guy's obviously the guilty one because he does this whole, like, weird voodoo magic thing before he walks through. Is the whole thing, like, everyone thinks it's magic and so they try to trick it? And so the person who's guilty will do, like, the most over-the-top things, proving his guilt, and then they just make it so he can't walk through? Like, I don't... This feels like a Palm Sunday celebration. True! Once more people posting decade-old stuff and acting like it's new. Speaking of posting decade-old stuff and acting like it's new, I saw someone post the fucking tomato juice tampon picture that I've been referencing for the last decade on Twitter. I was like, maybe I should reach into my ancient bag of memes and start posting super old things. Even the most ardent racist couldn't cook up something this racist in his wildest fever dream. This person said, why put everyone through this stress when you can just come clean and say the truth that you took it? This is why I don't feel pity for criminals. In what world would a criminal be like, yeah, actually, it was me, I stole it, my bad, bro. Like, what fucking retards thought that ancient civilizations were peaceful, friendly, and nice? Like, how do you become an archaeologist while fundamentally misunderstanding everything about the world? I don't understand.
Ancient DNA has been very disruptive to conventional understanding of the past, because after the second...
No, the conventional understanding of the past was that the past was barbaric and brutal, and you had to be barbaric and brutal to survive. What are we talking about?
Second World War, there had been a reaction where people said this initial idea that people had in the beginning of the 20th century, when people would see new types of pots, this is the arrival of a new people coming through invasion or through movement. And that was used by, for example, the Nazis to argue that these were spreads of Aryans moving across the landscape. And the reaction after the Second World War was to say, we don't know this. And in fact, when you see the arrival of new types of material culture, pots, for example, or tools or ways of organizing life, what you might be seeing is more the spread of culture. You might be seeing, for example, something like people copying use of a cell phone or something like this. How could there be a big movement of people? You're looking at densely settled Europe with well-developed agriculture. How could it be that new people coming in from outside will unseat these people, disrupt these people? But then you look at the genetic data and there's a 50%, 70%, 90% population disruption. What happened when we had these findings was some of our archaeologist co-authors really just were very distressed by the implication. One way or the other, you have some kind of people who expand demographically and displace people somehow, rapidly displace.
Even the most cultured ancient civilizations like ancient Roman Empire practiced slavery. Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck? How are there any people who supposedly study history and have gotten into archaeology, they were just like, everyone was just peaceful and loving until those white people came. Like, what are we talking about? This is actually insanity. How did we get here? You have a marvelous invention this guy might not have heard of. It's called a sword. People see culture spreading and assume it was only adopted because it was peacefully taken, not because the previous occupants were now dead. That's retarded. That's exactly what happened, like, many times over to many civilizations. How do you think they died out? What are you talking about? Not you in chat, this guy. You in chat is, I'm not yelling at you. Sorry. The discovery of Poontang led to more prosperity. It's just like, this is the dumbest fucking thing I've heard. And it makes me remember how so many people, like, in the US were like, oh my God, the Native Americans were so loving and peaceful until the white people came and brought the evils of warfare. And it's like, no! The Native Americans were also killing each other and eradicating other tribes. That's just what fucking happened back then.
The proposition that you were a peaceable people before the appearance of the white man is the most fanciful legend of all.
Is this the result of living in, like, the good times created by the hardened strong men? Like, we've been in the good times for so long that people's brains have just liquefied and been like, it's always been peaceful. There's never been any harm done ever except by the Nazis. It's actually fucking insane. People just pretend scalping wasn't a thing, unless you don't want statues of Hannah Duston taken down because a woman whose entire village was murdered and raped and her baby murdered against a tree by cracking it into a million pieces, and then her taken into slavery with a couple of other women and children who are going to not just be slaves but also be raped violently. If you want her statues taken down by scalping her captors and saying that's a strong woman figure, that's a problem. And that's where the scalping problem actually started, not the Native Americans doing it to each other. This is specifically commie subversion. It's not good times thinking. It's just like, how did you come to believe this? It is just like the most baffling thing to me. But it's also like, I suppose if you have been indoctrinated by commie gobbledygook for so fucking long, part of the commie gobbledygook is making you forget your history. And so if the commie gobbledygook demands everyone was peaceful until white people came along, therefore white people have the original sin of barbarity and evilness and racism, they're the only ones who have ever killed anyone ever en masse, therefore they're the only ones who need to be denigrated. It's just like, what the fuck? You will never get anywhere with trying to destroy history to this degree. And it's surprising to me that so many people apparently believe it.
People over a period of well less than a century. Today in Colombia, 95% of the Y chromosomes are European, 95% of the mitochondrial DNAs are Native American. We know what happened there. It wasn't friendly. It wasn't peaceful. Yeah. It wasn't nice. We really don't know what the past was like until we actually look at it and have hard data telling us what it's like. Our guesses, our models are including many of mine, are likely to be wrong because we can see that, because when we have hard data, we're surprised.
I just don't even know what to say about this. Like, it's just so bafflingly retarded that I cannot understand how anyone has internalized and believed it. Surprised at how dumb he is. I don't know. Like, I'm flabbergasted, really. When archaeologists never read history. Like, I've wanted to do archaeological dig stuff. I've been fascinated by archaeology since I was a kid. But it's like, archaeologists don't make good money. Most of the time, when you're an archaeologist, you go get a job as like a librarian or some shit, right? Like, the peak amount of money you can make as an archaeologist if you don't find something crazy that like a private buyer or a museum is gonna want is like the Library of Congress. That's like the most money you're going to make. There's a reason why the 100 Years' War is called that and not 100 Years Peaceful Gathering. What do you mean, comrade? There was no war. It was a 100-year peaceful gathering. Has agenda pushing. He wants his worldview to be the narrative. Truth is irrelevant. It's just like, he seems just as surprised that it was violent and not peaceful. So it's like, he seems less of like a malicious subversive and more of like a retard who was taken for a ride. Some ideas are so stupid that only intellectuals believe them. George Orwell, even if he was a pinko, that quote is evergreen. True. Pirate Nation said a new US mobile network called Radiant Mobile is launching, specifically marketed to Christians. It operates on T-Mobile's 5G network and uses advanced filtering technology to block pornography at the carrier level, a feature that cannot be disabled even for adult accounts. It also filters content related to gender and sexuality by default, though adults can adjust that setting. Plans start at around $30 per month for unlimited service, with a portion of fees donated to the customer's chosen church. The service aims to provide a faith-based focused environment free from porn and certain cultural content, according to its founders. And I want to say, I think this is a really good way to deal with people who don't want to have to see porn, with people who don't agree with porn's existence entirely, right? Having some kind of phone carrier like this for them, they can make that choice for them personally. And the hope would be, you got what you wanted, now leave everyone else alone. Stop trying to wholesale ban pornography. You should not be pushing that on other people. Opt-in versus forced on others. However, the suspicious person in me says, okay, well, if this carrier can make a phone network that blocks pornography at the carrier level, what's stopping other carriers from being beholden to governmental or non-governmental organizations who demand that carriers censor things in the same way that payment processors have been censoring things? The fact that this technology exists is a little scary, because it could be forced upon the rest of us, not under like a Christian banner, but under obviously communist weirdos or fascist weirdos who want to prevent people from seeing wrong things that they disagree with. And then this person said, the only problem is that it hard blocks xenophobia, which we know can just be something simple like questioning immigration. You can't unblock this even as an adult. And this here sites with contents of openly xenophobic nature or that promote and or defend racist behavior based on culture, race, religion, ideology, etc. This sends up red flags to me that this is not like a real Christian service, but this is like the subverted Christian service of like, let us keep these people blind and submissive. Everything is banned on there, right? Trojan horse? Yeah, this seems like all of those fake weird Christians who make TikTok videos about all of the subversive commie gobbledygook. Absolute Trojan horse, the lesbian pastor Christianity. That's a good way to put it. Christianity is a global homo religion at its core, though. I mean, if you want to call that a global homo religion, then every religion would be so. Big red flag, mega ultra super red flag. It's a censorship trial run. That is what I am worried about, right? Because it's like, okay, if these were Christians making their own phone network to not see things they don't want to see, fine, whatever. That's better than forcing it on the rest of us. But the more I read about this app, the more it's like, this seems like a test bed for rolling out absolute control over everyone's, like, phone connection kind of shit. Sigrid Eterna, thank you. V, the troll, did a video on this. Apparently it's being funded by an Israeli company, if I speak. Oh yeah, since we're talking about commies, Hasan Piker said some dumb shit again. It's a day ending in Y.
Where I'm not, like, automatically saying, like, you are the devil if you've had any positive associations with Israel, because I understand that. Just like I understand where people are coming from with... Look at this fucking... You know, I understand. Just because you may have had some positive interactions with Israel, that doesn't mean you're a devil. You know, it's just that most people might be. Interactions with Israel might make you a devil, but not all the time. What the fuck is he talking? How does he say it like that? What the fuck? So empathetic. The timing. I'm used to the pipe now. I am the pipe. I am become pipe, destroyer of homes. With even white supremacist attitudes that they might have had, like the residual white supremacist blind spots that they have, that end up rearing their head in their decision making, because America is, in its foundation, a white supremacist country.
If America was a white supremacist country, not only would Hasan not be a millionaire, not only would Hasan not be able to sit on podcasts calling America a white supremacist country, if America was a white supremacist country, Hasan would not be deported. He would be on a pike in a city square somewhere. Like, what are we talking about here?
This is very frustrating for Republicans to hear. This is even frustrating for liberals to hear sometimes, but it's just the truth, right?
Once again, if this is a white supremacist country, Where are all the roving right-wing death squads that are killing all of the Browns? And why are the Browns still wanting to come here en masse if this is a white supremacist country? Like, they just say shit, and it doesn't make sense.
And so my assessment always is, yeah, there's gonna be some things that people say that are going to be objectively heinous. Some implicit biases that
right
they have.
now?
But I don't treat people that have those implicit biases as like permanent villains. I try to talk to them, coming from a place of understanding. And
see, and this is why when we had that conversation many moons ago, and I used Hasan Piker as someone you can have a conversation with, I relented and I was like, you know what, I fucked up. That's incorrect. He's still a communist. He's gonna lie. He's gonna subvert you. He might present himself as someone who's willing to have a conversation, but that conversation is still impossible.
And try to identify exactly how they arrived at that conclusion, and then change their mindset, and to hopefully help heal in that process, and to ensure that they don't fall into those same traps again.
I don't know what podcast he's on, right? I've never heard of Ebro Laura Rosenberg, but can I just point out, it's a little funny that he's on a podcast of someone whose last name is Rosenberg, and he's saying, well, you know, you can have some positive interactions with Israel and not be a devil. Sounds like a gay law firm. He claims to come from a place of understanding, but still goes against any actual reasoning and understanding because he understands he's lying. I don't know how you lie so constantly and fluently and like never really get mixed up in what you're saying. Like, I don't know. I guess like you just defeat cognitive dissonance at this point. You just beat it into a pulp and stick it in the back of your brain. And speaking of commie gobbledygook, I retweeted a different thing of this, but Animal Farm retweeted another batch of glowing review, they forgot the S, and people are loving Animal Farm. Witness for yourself in theaters now. And this is a poster saying, an eye-opening watch that reminds you how easily power can be abused by Buzzin' Reviews and Letterboxd. Okay. And then this other one, it's a surprise how faithful Animal Farm is to the spirit of its progenitor. Book and Film Globe. Why you always lying, bro? Why you always lying? I hate it. You see, if I was a dictator, all right, let's imagine a hypothetical. I know that might be difficult for some of you in the audience. Let's imagine a hypothetical where for some reason I have been made supreme dictator of the world. The first thing I would do, everyone gets an implant. If you lie, it explodes and you die. But I did have breakfast. I am like, I genuinely hate people who lie. Like, it fucking messes my brain up so much and it makes me upset. Why not just stick to the book? I know, imagine. Can it handle white lies? See, now we're asking too many questions. I didn't think about it that far, all right? It would be fine with Foxu being dictator of the world. Oh man, ever since Angel Studios went public and got bought out, they've really just turned into another Hollywood scumfuck group. I saw someone make a tweet where they were just like, they could have gone about this in a really interesting way where all of the, like, marketing, all of the marketing for the movie showed the movie to be the opposite of what it is, right? So all of the marketing for Animal Farm would be pro-Marxist, pro-communist. It would be, we changed the story, we're not faithful to the source material. And then when the movie comes out, the marketing changes to, oh, that was the pigs who had taken over the studio and were doing the marketing for us, right? That would have been a really cool subversion of expectations, right? That's not what's happening here. But I was like, fuck, that guy had such a good idea. Animal Farm, in theaters now. Hilarious, disturbing, compelling, whoever the fuck Josh at the movies is. And then finally, will spark viewers across generations to dive deeper. Quoted by People's World. But up here, someone said, okay, so People's World was founded by communists, and the author of the article praising Animal Farm is part of the Communist Party. Angel Studios, what the fuck are you doing? About People's World. People's World is a voice for progressive change and socialism in the United States. It provides news and analysis of, by, and for the labor and democratic movements to our readers across the country and around the world. With a small but dedicated staff, freelance contributions, and a nationwide network of volunteer writers, People's World presents insights into local, national, and international struggles from the perspectives of those who are experiencing them. It's an angle you won't find in the corporate press. People's World traces its lineage to the Daily Worker newspaper, founded by communist, socialist, union members, and other activists in Chicago in 1924. On the front page of its first edition, the paper declared that big business interests, bankers, merchant princes, landlords, and other profiteers should fear the daily worker. It pledged to raise the standards of struggle against the few who rob and plunder the many. Why does this sound like someone at Bridge wrote this? Because it's one and the same, buddy boy. Animal Farm 2026, an oversimplified yet entertaining adaptation of the Orwell classic. Of course a communist would be named fucking Chauncey, are you kidding me? Chauncey Robinson, damn, look at that face of evil. Look at her stare. Look at her smile. That is creepy. Chauncey K. Robinson believes that writing in any capacity should help to reflect the world around us and be one of the tools to help bring about progressive change. To them, words are not a means of a communication. They are a way to deceive you. As a social media content creator and writer for People's World, she seeks to make sure that topics that affect working class people, peoples of color, and women are constantly in the spotlight and part of the discussion. I know, this is her profile on the Communist Party USA, by the way. And then People's World, the communist rag, saying that this movie will spark viewers across generations to dive deeper. Please do not dive deeper into communism. I saw this video and I was like, this has to be AI, right? Like, there's no way this isn't AI. This isn't a real video, right? Apparently this is in Texas, by the way. This is like the sounds of walking through a bazaar in Legend of Zelda. Yeah, I don't know what's up with Lady in the Water here, just like demonically screaming the whole time. It's like you asked her to play Phasmophobia and she just... This has to be AI. No one's shitting in the water. Oh my God. Texans frolicking about in the Trinity. So I interpreted this to be like, oh yeah, Texas has had massive floods of Indians recently. So clearly that's the joke he's making. That these are now the native Texans coming soon to Frisco, Texas. Don't mess with Texas. You may end up getting cholera. This is going on in Texas, yes. Nightmare Fuel calls ICE immediately. As I would hold up the cross while also calling ICE simultaneously. Yes, hello, Homeland Security. I found a demon. This guy said, the school board is trying to expel the kid who made this video for exposing that his classmates can't read. You can't make this shit up. And he posted a screenshot of, I think this is Instagram. This guy said, I would post a part 3, but the school board is trying to expel me. Stop me from going to prom and stop me from walking at graduation. I don't know, chat. I don't know if that's true. But if true, that's kind of crazy that you can film your classmates being functionally illiterate and the school will threaten you with no prom, no walking at graduation, maybe expel you. And yet someone like Carmelo Anthony is just petted on the head and it's like, oh, it's okay. You only murdered a white boy. You can continue to go to school and get college scholarships and shit. That's okay. You didn't do anything wrong.
She wore a suit, clothes that were... Who's this for? Extraordinary, but somewhat Gertrude?
Gertrude?
I don't know.
Can you read? I don't know. She could be a VTuber with that answer, to be fair.
Were a Sahalit?
Sahalit?
That were extraordinary, whatever, bro. But somewhat gooch. What does that mean?
Gooch.
She wore a lot. Wait, she wore. Bro, I don't know, bro. Can you take the card back, please?
She wore a. Oh, baby. She wore a silhouette of clothes that were. Bitch, I don't know that word. I don't even know how to read. I don't know why I did it.
She wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary, but somewhat gauche. What does that mean?
He did
I
it!
have no idea.
I'm proud of him.
I used to something like she were a. I don't know what this shit said. I don't know.
Why are so many of them giving up on the word silhouette? Like, okay, these are like high school kids, right? I would understand maybe some of them not knowing gosh, right? That is a potential, okay, maybe. But how the fuck are you in high school and you don't know silhouette or extraordinary? What the fuck is happening? Seen some crimes you've done to some words, Kirsche? You're much better than them, but you're on thin ice. The way that I can mispronounce things is because I have a firm grasp of the English language. I just look at English and I grab it with my fist and I squeeze it like it's a dumb fucking rat. That's what I do to it. That's how you have the manipulations, man. You gotta have a strong grasp if you want to do things goofy.
What this shit say? I don't know what this shit say.
Say spout, please. Spout and spoot. Two different things, buddy. Two different things, buddy. You gotta be really smart to sound the most retarded. Ay. Gosh is an uncommon word. Yeah, that's why I said I could give them not knowing gosh, right? I could give them that. Like, that would make sense. And, like, coming from my perspective, I also have to give, like, a little bit more benefit of the doubt, because when I was in high school, if you were someone who grew up like constantly reading at a young age and then also playing video games, I've told the stories, right? Like, I'd play Final Fantasy and they had the word like fucking malevolent in it, but I was like, you know, less than 10 years old. I don't even remember, but I was like less than 10 and I was like, oh, male violence. Because I'd never seen that word before. I didn't know how to fucking pronounce it. So it's like I had a higher vocabulary than a majority of my peers just because of the way that I engaged with different types of media that gave me a higher linguistic ability early on. And now I'm a retarded cartoon. A serious question, though. What is a silhouette of clothes? I'm assuming when they say she wore a silhouette of clothes, they're saying, like, basically her appearance. I've never heard anyone say silhouette of clothes. I would imagine if I reconstructed the sentence, it would be like, her silhouette showed off her clothes that were extraordinary but somewhat gauche. Because, like, saying silhouette of clothes is like a weird string of words. This is a picture for ants, as are all pictures on Google. So this woman, clearly wearing clothes, but this is something you could describe as a silhouette of clothes. There is a distinct lack of clothing, so you could describe it as a silhouette of clothes. Tim Pool over here saying, if you want to understand just how much Angel Studios is shitting on its guild and you, take a look at how Napoleon and Animal Farm farts and calls it the sound of freedom. They're literally shitting on the sound of freedom. An Animal Farm official account said, the sound and smell of freedom, pukey face. See Animal Farm, a cautionary tale.
Hey, where'd this come from?
It's leftovers. It'll go to waste. You should have this for all your hard work.
No. Thank you, but it's supposed to be shared equally.
There is no supposed to anymore, okay? We're free. For example, I'm about to fart right now. This is the sound of freedom.
Thanks, Napoleon. Nice to be appreciated, but...
Just enjoy the milk, kid. And also, like, don't worry. You know, it's our little secret.
Yeah, very subtle. Very not weird at all.